I've been undercover for 9 years. I finally made it back home. My wife cooked a whole table of dishes waiting for me. But right when I was happily eating, I noticed my wife's right index finger tapping rhythmically on the tabletop. The next second, all blood in my body froze instantly. This was not random tapping. This was Morse code. I didn't look up. I still kept the posture of eating, but under the table my fingers secretly pieced together what she tapped. Run. There are 10 bugs in the house. My heart sank sharply. My chewing motion froze right away. I slowly lifted my head to look at her. Songsi still had that gentle smile on her face, and she was still saying, "Honey, eat more. These are all your favorite dishes." I made extra on purpose today. But her eyes were hiding thick, undissolvable fear and plea. She was desperately signaling me to leave. I forced myself to swallow the food in my mouth, suppress the raging storm in my heart. I can't panic. 9 years of undercover life have long turned my emotions as hard as steel. The more dangerous it is, the calmer I need to be. I put down my chopsticks and smiled too. Yeah, home-cooked food tastes the best. It's just that I traveled for too long, I'm a little tired, and I'm dirty all over. I'll go take a shower first, and change my clothes. A flash of urgency crossed Songsi's eyes, but she quickly covered it up. She nodded. Her smile was a little forced. Okay, go ahead. I already boiled the water for you. I stood up and walked towards the bathroom. Every step I took was steady, but all the muscles in my body had already entered the highest alert state. The moment I closed the bathroom door, I didn't turn on the shower right away. Instead, I immediately started to check this small space, behind the mirror, ceiling, vent, inside the toilet tank. Every possible spot that could hide something. I didn't miss any corner, sure enough. In an extremely hidden groove under the sink, I touched a cold, hard object the size of a matchbox. I didn't take it out. I just gently touched its outline with my fingertip. This is the latest model of military-grade bug. It has an effective range of 500 meters. It can even pick up heartbeats clearly. A layer of cold sweat broke out on my back instantly. This isn't ordinary surveillance anymore. This is professional, deadly monitoring. Who on earth is it? Was my mission exposed? Or was Songsi being controlled by someone? I turned on the shower. Loud sound of water filled the whole bathroom instantly. It can block some of the sound for now. I leaned against the cold tile. My brain was working at top speed. 10, Songsi said there were 10. That means there are almost no blind spots in the whole house. Every word I say, every move I make, is under the control of others. Escape now. No, wait, if I leave, what will happen to Songsi? Since they can fill my house with bugs, that means they have completely taken control of Songsi. Once I run away, she will die immediately. I can't leave. I have to stay and dig these people out. I rinsed my body quickly. When I walked out of the bathroom, my expression had already returned to calm, even with the relaxed vibe after a shower. Songsi had already cleared the dishes. She was sitting on the couch, happily watching a variety show. I knew. She was acting for those invisible eyes and ears. I walked over and sat down next to her, picked up an apple, slowly peeled it with a small knife. Honey, you've worked so hard these past few years. Songsi turned her head, looking at me with red eyes. It's not hard as long as you can come back safe. It's just that my dad hasn't been feeling well lately. He always talks about us. Will you come with me to my parents' house to see him tomorrow? My hand peeling the apple stopped. The Morse code she tapped didn't mention going to her parents' house. This is new information. I looked at her. Her eyes were full of hints and pleas. I got it. The parents' house she mentioned wasn't the real one. That was a code name. A code name only she and I knew. It was the emergency contact point I agreed with her before I left. An absolutely safe place. I handed the peeled apple to her. The peel didn't break the whole time. We'll go back to see him early tomorrow morning. It was just dawn the next day. Songsi and I got out of bed already. We washed up like a regular married couple. Over breakfast, she tied my tie for me. I fixed her hair gently for her. Before we headed out, she held onto my arm and rested her head on my shoulder. Honey, I'm a little scared. Her voice was very soft and trembling with real fear. I knew she wasn't scared to visit her parents' house. She was worried about our plan for today. I patted her hand gently and whispered in her ear, "Don't be scared, I'm right here." I said this not just for her, but also for the people listening through the bugs. I wanted them to believe I was just an ordinary husband who'd been away for 9 years, totally loving and devoted to his wife. We We drove a nearly 10-year-old Volkswagen. Before getting in, I did my usual check of the car. No trackers were attached under the car. No new listening devices were inside either. Looks like they thought the 10 bugs planted at home were enough to monitor my every move. The car pulled out of the community slowly. I spotted a black Buick in the rearview mirror, following us at a steady, moderate distance. I sneered inwardly. Just as I expected, they showed up. Song-si saw it too. Her body went stiff instantly. "Don't look back," I said in a low voice. At the same time, I turned on the car stereo. Upbeat pop songs drowned out our tense, pounding heartbeats. At the next intersection, the green light only had 3 seconds left. I didn't slow down at all. Instead, I slammed on the gas hard. The car rushed through right as the light turned red. That black Buick got stuck tight in the traffic behind us. Song-si let out a quiet gasp. Did we lose them? Not yet, I said, staring calmly at the rearview mirror. Professional tails don't only use one car. They'll cut us off from another intersection soon. Sure enough. Less than 5 minutes later, a silver-gray Honda appeared behind our car. Song-si's face went pale again. Don't panic, I comforted her, while my brain raced to plan our route. I couldn't go straight to the safe spot we agreed on. That would make our goal too obvious. It would be the same as telling them directly that I knew they were watching us. I had to go somewhere first, a place that could confuse them and let us shake off surveillance for a while. I jerked the steering wheel hard, and the car turned into a small side road. Where are we going? Song-si asked nervously. To your real parents' house, I said. Song-si froze in shock. 20 minutes later, the car stopped outside the community where her parents lived. I got out of the car with Song-si, carrying fruit and health supplements we prepared earlier. I could even feel hidden eyes from the shadows, locked firmly on us. That's exactly what I wanted, for them to see that we really were just here to visit the elders. When her parents saw me, they were both surprised and delighted. They pulled me over and asked me all sorts of questions. Song-si chatted with them casually, but her face stayed slightly pale the whole time. I made an excuse, saying I needed to use the bathroom. The second I closed the door, I pulled out my phone immediately. I bought this phone yesterday on my way back, from a random street stall. It had a brand new SIM card and phone number. I didn't make any phone calls. Instead, I quickly typed out a text message. Plan activated. Targets have appeared, requesting backup. I sent the text to an encrypted number. 3 seconds later, I got a reply. It was just one word. Approved. I deleted all the messages and walked out of the bathroom. We stayed at her parents' place for the whole morning. We ate, chatted, and watched TV, just like a totally normal family gathering. It wasn't until 2 p.m. that I said to her father, Dad, I'm taking Song-si to the mall for a walk, to buy her some new clothes. Her father nodded with a smile. Go on, go ahead. Make it up to Xiaozi properly. We left the house again. That silver-gray Honda was still parked outside the community just as I expected. When the driver saw us come out, he started the car right away and followed after us. We drove to the busiest mall in the city center. I parked the car in the underground garage. Then I held Song-si's hand tight and walked into the crowded, bustling mall. Stick close to me, I told her. We didn't head for the clothing section at all. We took the elevator straight up to the cinema on the 5th floor instead. I bought 2 tickets for the latest showing. It was a Hollywood blockbuster. It had just premiered. The theater was almost full. We had our tickets checked and entered. In the dark screening hall, we found our seats. I could feel at least 2 people followed us inside. They sat not far behind us. I didn't look back. I just put the popcorn in Song-si's arms. The movie started. The loud sound effects were deafening. When everyone's attention was drawn to the screen, I leaned close to Song-si's ear. In 3 minutes, there will be a big explosion scene in the movie. The lights will flash for a second. The moment I pull you, we leave through the emergency exit on the left. Sosi nodded nervously. Her palms were covered in sweat. I held her hand. It was ice cold. Time passed second by second. The lead on screen was defusing a time bomb. 3, 2, boom. A deafening blast went off. All the theater lights flashed wildly, matching the plot. Now's the time. I yanked Song-si up to her feet. We crouched and darted to the left emergency exit. We pushed the door open and rushed into the dark stairwell. Behind us, we heard the 2 men exclaim and scramble after us. They had figured out our move, but it was already too late. The emergency stairwell was dark and long. I dragged Song-si all the way down to the second basement floor. This was the mall's loading dock. The air smelled of dampness. "This way," I whispered sharply. I pulled her to hide in a corner piled full of discarded cardboard boxes. Hurried footsteps came from the stairs. They got closer and closer. The two men were chasing after us. Song-si held her breath in fear. She gripped my arm tightly. I put my index finger to my lips, signaling her to stay quiet. Two men in jackets rushed down to the first basement floor. They looked around. "Where are they?" "Shit, we lost them, split up in search." "They definitely haven't gotten far yet." One man walked towards our direction. He got closer and closer. I pulled a pen from the back of my waist. It was my only weapon. Just as the man was about to reach the corner where we were hiding, his walkie-talkie went off. Team B reporting. The targets left through the north gate. They got into a taxi. The man froze for a second. Then he cursed, "Fuck. That's a diversion trick." He turned around immediately and ran towards the north gate with his partner. The footsteps quickly faded away. I breathed a sigh of relief. That message just now was from my guy. The plan was to lure them away. My people would create the false impression we had escaped. To buy us some time, we waited another 5 minutes. After confirming it was safe, I pulled Song-si out from behind the cardboard boxes. "Are we safe?" she asked in a trembling voice. "Safe for now." I led her to another exit of the loading dock. A black Audi was already waiting there quietly. The car window rolled down. The man in the driver's seat nodded at me. That was my liaison. Codename Old K. We got in the car quickly. The car drove silently into the night. "Where to?" Old K asked. 30 Sadyu Jingan Road, West City. I said that was the agreed safe spot for Song-si and I. It was a safe house I bought 9 years ago. Under a fake identity. In the car, Song-si finally broke down a little. She hugged her knees. Her body was shaking nonstop. "Luyen, I'm so scared. Those people are bad guys." I took off my coat and draped it over her. I pulled her into my arms gently. "Don't be scared. Tell me what exactly happened. When did they start targeting you?" Song-si looked up. Her eyes were full of tears. "Half a year ago? Half a year ago. A man named Zhou Yuanhang found me." "Zhou Yuanhang?" That name sounded familiar. "He said he was your old friend. He said you were out on a mission and ran into some trouble, so he needed to take care of me for you." I didn't believe him at first. "But he showed me lots of your old photos. He even knew your favorite food is the sweet and sour ribs I cook." My heart sank. Zhou Yuanhang. I remembered who he was. He was my classmate at the police academy before I went undercover. We weren't close at all. We lost touch right after graduation. How does he know so much about me? What happened next? I kept pressing, then he started coming over to our place often. Helped me fix the plumbing, replace broken light bulbs. Like a caring older brother. Until 1 month ago, Song-si's voice started trembling. 1 month ago, he suddenly told me, "You probably won't make it back from this mission." He said the force already put you on the casualty list. He said he had a way to save you, but he needed my cooperation. I panicked right away. I begged him to save you. Then he brought some people over. To install those gadgets in our house? He said this was to protect me, and to collect evidence that could save you. He also said when you get back, you must not act abnormal at all, and follow all his arrangements, or both of us will die. Listening to Song-si's story, I clenched my fists tighter and tighter. Bastard. Zhou Yuanhang's whole act was a scam from the start. He took advantage of Song-si's worry and love for me, turning her into a puppet he could control. What protection, what saving me. The listening bugs he planted were targeting me this entire time. What does he want from me? Intel I gathered during my 9 years undercover, or something else entirely. We soon arrived at 37 Jing'an Road. It was a very ordinary old residential building. The safe house is on the 3rd floor. We unlocked the door and went in. The room was very clean. Someone obviously cleaned it regularly. Old K checked the whole place. After confirming there were no listening devices, he nodded at me. "It's safe here. I'll stand guard outside. Call me any time if you need anything." With that, he closed the door and left. Only Song-si and I were left in the room. I poured her a cup of hot water. "Do you remember if Zhou Yuanhang left anything behind, or asked you to keep something for him?" Song-si held the water cup. Tried hard to remember, then suddenly, she looked like she recalled something. "He said there was a very important item It's the key to saving you. He told me to hide it well. And hand it to you myself when you come back. As she said that, she walked quickly into the bedroom. A moment later, she walked out holding a tiny jewelry box. She opened the box. There was no jewelry inside. Instead, there was a tiny, very plain-looking cufflink. I took the cufflink. It felt ice-cold in my hand, and surprisingly heavy. It wasn't ordinary metal. I held it in my palm and examined it carefully. The style was very old-fashioned. There was a faint emblem carved on it, a coiled scorpion. The second I saw that emblem, my pupils shrank sharply. A scorpion. That's the symbol of Black Crab, the biggest drug cartel on the border. I spent 9 years undercover, risking my life to take down this exact organization. Zhou Yuanhang is a domestic police officer. How does he have something belonging to Black Crab? Also, looking at the wear on the cufflink, someone clearly wore it for years. This is definitely not an ordinary token. I pried the edge of the cufflink lightly with my fingernail. There was a soft click. The back of the cufflink popped open, revealing a tiny groove, with a memory card smaller than a fingernail inside. My heart skipped a beat. Got it, this is Zhou Yuanhang's real goal. He didn't want to listen in on me, or get intel out of me. His real plan was to make me take this memory card to a location he specified, or hand it to a specific person. He saw me as the safest possible courier. Because I just came back, my record is clean, and I'm highly decorated. No one would suspect me, and Songsi was his hostage to control me. What a clever two birds, one stone trick. What is this? Songsi looked at the memory card in my hand and asked quietly, It's a hot potato. I closed the cufflink and put it back in the jewelry box. We can't touch this thing for now. Did Zhou Yuanhang tell you what to do after you get this item? Songsi shook her head. He only said when you come back. He would contact me. He said he has ways to track our every move. So the bugs at home, he must have already noticed they are useless. What if he hurts Mom and Dad? Songsi did not dare to finish her sentence. That's what I'm most worried about. A guy like Zhou Yuanhang is ruthless and stops at nothing to get what he wants. Once he finds out we are off his surveillance, his first move will definitely be to target our soft spots. And our soft spots are both of our parents. I immediately took out that new phone and dialed Old K's number. Old K, use all your connections. Send people right away to protect my parents-in-law, and my own parents as well. Remember, this is top-level protection. No one leaves their post 24/7. Also, look up a man named Zhou Yuanhang. He graduated from police academy, around 35 to 36 years old. I want all his information. The faster, the better. On the other end of the line, Old K replied crisply, Copy that. After hanging up the call, I looked at Songsi's pale face and was filled with guilt. I'm sorry I dragged you into this mess. If it weren't for me, she should have lived a peaceful and stable life. But Songsi shook her head and held my hand. What are you talking about? We are husband and wife. I just hate that I was too stupid to trust that bastard so easily. I pulled her tight into my arms. No, you are not stupid. You just love me too much. The night outside the window grew darker. This night was destined to be sleepless. I sat on the living room sofa, twirling that cold cufflink in my hand. My brain raced to sort out the whole context of the case. Zhou Yuanhang must be working for the Black Scorpion organization. He is probably a mole that Black Scorpion planted inside the domestic police force. What exactly is on this memory card? Black Scorpion's domestic drug trade network, or a list of corrupt officials. No matter which one it is, it's enough to cause a huge storm across the country. And I, Lu Yan, an undercover hero who just returned, am right in the center of this storm right now. Zhou Yuanhang will contact me very soon. He will use my family's safety to force me to give in. I can't just sit here and wait for disaster. I have to take the initiative. When it was almost dawn, Old K called me. Boss, all personnel are arranged. Your parents and in-laws are all safe now. We also found Zhou Yuanhang's information. This guy's resume is suspiciously clean. He joined the Municipal Police Bureau right after Police Academy and got promoted all the way up. He is now the deputy captain of the Economic Investigation Detachment. Everyone says he is a real hard charger. He has extremely strong professional competence. There is no sign of any problem with him at all. I let out a cold sneer. The cleaner his record is, the bigger the problem he hides. Where is he now? I asked. He left the city overnight last night. He headed south towards Yungang City. Yungang City? My heart sank again. Yungang is a coastal city in a border province. It is also one of the most important transit hubs for Black Scorpion's drugs in the country. What is he going there for? To meet people from Black Scorpion? Or did he already find out I have the memory card? Is he planning to run away? No, if he wanted to run, he wouldn't go alone. He must have another trick up his sleeve. Boss, what do we do now? Should we report this to our superiors? Old K asked. I stayed silent for a moment. Not for now. We don't know if Zhou Yuanheng has other accomplices inside the police force. Reporting now will only alert the enemy. Old K, take your team to Yungang right now. Keep a close eye on Zhou Yuanheng. Remember, just watch him. Don't make a move. I need to know who he meets and what he does. Yes, boss. After hanging up the call, I already had a bold plan in my mind. Zhou Yuanheng, you want to play? I'll play with you till the end. You want me to be your inside man? Fine. I'll pretend to be one for you. I want to see how big your web really is. Songsi had already made breakfast. Millet porridge and golden fried eggs. After the shock of yesterday, she obviously hadn't fully recovered yet. She had faint dark circles under her eyes. After eating, just rest here. Don't go anywhere. Old K's men will be guarding outside. This place is totally safe, I said to her. Susie nodded, eyes full of worry. What about you? Are you going to take risks again? I smiled a little and ruffled his hair. Relax, I'm not the reckless kid I was 9 years ago. Now I'm the hunter. They're the prey. After dinner, I changed into clean clothes. I carefully put the cufflink into my inner pocket. Then I walked out of the safe house. I didn't drive. I just walked in the sun like an ordinary citizen. I didn't go anywhere specific. Just wandered aimlessly along the street. I was waiting for Zhou Yuanheng's call. He would definitely call. He needed to confirm the messenger was still under his control. Sure enough, at 10 a.m., an unknown number called. I picked up. Hello? A voice came from the other end. A distorted, hoarse voice. Officer Liu. 9 years since we last met. Hope you've been well. It was Zhou Yuanheng. Zhou Yuanheng? I pretended to be shocked. Why are you calling from this number? Huh, let's skip the small talk, Officer Liu. I bet your wife has already given you that gift, right? What gift? I don't know what you're talking about. I kept acting confused. The voice on the other end turned cold. Liu Ye, don't play dumb with me. I know you pulled a trick and hid yesterday. I'd advise you not to get clever. Your parents and your parents-in-law are probably taking a walk in the park right now, aren't they? Tell me, what happens if a runaway truck slams into them? It was a blatant threat. My heart clenched instantly. But my voice stayed calm. What exactly do you want? Simple. Bring the item to Yungang City. I'll tell you what to do next once you arrive. Remember, come alone. If you dare call the cops or pull any tricks, you'll face the consequences yourself. With that, the call was hung up. I stood there holding my phone, not moving for a long time. The fish took the bait. He really did want me to go to Yungang. That was exactly what I wanted. I immediately sent a message to Old K. Target confirmed. I'm heading to Yungang City right now. You guys follow the original plan. Then I deleted the message, hailed a taxi, and headed straight for the high-speed rail station. I bought a ticket for the earliest train to Yungang. I went through security and waited for the train. All my actions looked like a desperate ordinary man who was going to save his family. I knew Zhou Yuanheng must have spies secretly watching me. I needed to make them believe that I had given in. 4 hours later, the high-speed train arrived in Yungang City. I walked out of the station. A hot wind reeking of fish hit me in the face. My phone rang again. It was the same unknown number. Come to Nanwan Pier. Remember, no police cars. Another short order. Then the call cut off again. I let out a cold laugh, walked out of the station square. Got in a taxi, sir. To Nanwan Pier, please. The taxi drove through the city. The scenery outside the window flew by backwards. I once stayed in Yungang City for 3 years. To get close to the Black Scorpion organization, I worked as a docker here. Drove unlicensed taxis, even fought in underground boxing matches. Every street here, every corner. I know them like the back of my hand. Zhou Yuanheng choosing this place as the deal spot means he picked the wrong place. This is my turf. The taxi soon arrived at Nanwan Pier. This is the largest freight terminal in Yungang City, piled high with mountainous stacks of containers. It was getting dark. All the dock workers had gotten off work, so it felt a bit empty and quiet. I got out of the car, Following the instructions, I walked alone towards the inner part of the pier. The sea wind blew past, kicking up dust off the ground. The atmosphere started to feel oppressive. I walked to the door of Warehouse 3. My phone rang again. Go inside. There's a new phone on the table inside the warehouse. Use that phone to contact me. I pushed open the half-closed iron door of the warehouse. A strong smell of fish hit me in the face. The warehouse was very dim. Only a few rays of sunset shone through the high windows. Sure enough, there's a worn-out table right in the center. On the table, a black senior phone is lying there quietly. I walked into the warehouse. The iron gate creaked and slowly closed behind me. The whole space instantly fell into deeper darkness. I didn't panic. Instead, I pressed against the wall first to adjust to the light. My eyes quickly got used to the dimness here. The warehouse is huge. It's piled full of all kinds of fishing gear and sundries. Besides the smell of fish in the air, there's also a faint scent of motor oil. I walked slowly towards the table and picked up that senior phone. It's very light, the simplest model available. It can only make calls and send text messages. I turned it on and the phone screen lit up. It had full signal bars. Right as I held the phone in my hand, it started vibrating. The screen showed an unknown number. I pressed the answer button. Officer Liu, did you get the phone? It was still Zhou Yuanhang's hoarse voice. You got it. Now turn off your original phone you have on you. Take out the battery and throw it into the bucket to your left. I did as I was told. I took out the new phone I bought at the high-speed rail station and turned it off. Took out the battery and threw it into a nearby iron bucket full of dark water. Very good. Zhou Yuanhang's voice sounded very satisfied. Now take out the gift and put it on the table. I took that jewelry box out of my inner pocket, opened it, and placed the scorpion cufflink on the tabletop. Zhu Wenhang, you've seen the stuff. I'm here too. Can you let my family go now? My tone carried suppressed anger and anxiety. Don't be in a hurry, Officer Liu. We always have to check the goods first. Stay where you are, don't move. As soon as he finished speaking, from the shadows at the very back of the warehouse, a person walked out. That man was tall and big, wearing an all-black hoodie. His hat was pulled down very low, so you couldn't see his face clearly. He walked straight to the table, picked up that cufflink, and inspected it carefully with a mini flashlight. Then he took out a portable card reader and inserted that micromemory card into it. The card reader was connected to a tablet computer. A read success icon quickly appeared on the screen. The man quickly scanned through the content on the screen and nodded. He picked up the senior phone and waved it at me. The stuff is correct. His voice was very gruff, with a strong local accent. This wasn't Zhou Yuanhang. This was his subordinate, or someone from Black Crab. Can you let people go now? I pressed again. The man didn't answer me, but spoke into the phone instead. Brother Hang, the stuff is fine. On the other end of the phone, Zhu Wenhang was silent for a few seconds. Then he laughed. Luyan, oh Luyan, you really are still this naive. Let you go? Do you think that's possible? A living undercover hero is too dangerous for me. Only dead people can keep secrets forever. My heart sank hard, just as I thought. He never planned to let me leave alive from the start. Zhu Wenhang, you bastard! I roared. Aren't you afraid I'll spill all your dirty business? Ha ha ha! Zhou Yuanhang let out a burst of crazy laughter. Spill it? Do you have any proof? Who would believe that a hero, cop, is an accomplice to drug dealers? And you, Lu Yan, a person who's been missing for 9 years. Who knows if you turned traitor in those 9 years? As long as you're dead, I can totally say you stole this confidential information and wanted to sell it to drug dealers. While I, Zhou Yuanhang, was trying to recover the confidential info, clean up the house, and did the right thing even against my own kin. Who do you think people will believe? What a vicious scheme. He's gonna put all the blame on me, a dead man. Do it. Zhou Yuanhang's voice turned cold and cruel. Clean up the mess properly. The man in the hoodie hung up the phone. He slowly pulled out from behind his waist a dagger glinting with cold light, and approached me step by step. At the same time, from all directions in the warehouse, from the shadows walked out another, 4 or 5 men dressed the same way. All of them were holding weapons. Steel pipes, machetes. They formed a circle around me, blocking all my escape routes. The man holding the dagger grinned grimly and flexed his wrist. Sorry about this, Officer Liu. Blame yourself for knowing too much. He stamped hard on the ground. He lunged at me like a cheetah. The dagger in his hand went straight for my heart. I didn't move. I just stared at him calmly. The second his dagger was about to pierce my chest, I curled my lips into a cold sneer. Oh, really? I think you folks know too much as well. Before I finished speaking, a crisp bang of a gunshot broke the dead silence of the warehouse. The man with the dagger froze suddenly. A bloody hole appeared between his eyebrows. The vicious grin was still frozen on his face, but his body turned into a pile of mud and collapsed limply to the ground. Everyone in the warehouse was stunned. They looked at me in terror. No, they looked behind me. I turned sideways slowly. I saw that the tightly closed iron gate of the warehouse had been opened at some point. A man was standing at the door. It was Old K. He was holding a pistol with a silencer in his hand. A wisp of smoke was still coming out of the muzzle, and behind him, dozens of fully armed SWAT officers like a tide poured in from all directions. The dark gun barrels were instantly aimed at everyone else in the warehouse. Freeze. Police, drop your weapons! Those men instantly turned deathly pale. The steel pipes and machetes in their hands clattered to the ground. They never would have imagined. The mantis stalks the cicada, unaware the oriole is right behind. The SWAT officers moved fast and smoothly cuffed everyone in the warehouse. The tablet and the cufflink were taken as the most critical evidence and put into evidence bags. Old K walked quickly over to me. He handed me a bulletproof vest. Boss, are you all right? I shook my head, took the vest and put it on. Where's Zhou Yuanhang? I asked. The fish is already in the net. It's about time we give the order to close the net, right? Old K looked excited. Don't worry, boss. Our guys have been taking turns tracking him. In 3 shifts ever since you entered Yungang. That kid Zhou Yuanhang thinks he's so smart. But actually, every single move he makes is under our surveillance. He's right now on an abandoned fishing boat, less than 5 kilometers away from here. He's probably still waiting for good news. My gaze turned cold. Notify the action team to get ready for arrest. I'm gonna meet this old classmate of mine in person. Yes, sir, 15 minutes later. At the other end of Nanwan Wharf. On a shabby fishing boat, Zhou Yuanhang was pacing around anxiously. He checked his phone from time to time, as if waiting for some news. The operation at the warehouse should have been over long ago. Why hasn't anyone contacted him yet? An ominous premonition rose in his heart. Just then, his phone rang. It was an unknown number. He hesitated for a moment, still answered it. Hello? Zhou Yuanhang. A voice he found, both familiar and terrified of, came from the other end. It was Lu Yan. Zhou Yuanhang's face turned pale in an instant. Lu Yan, how can you... Surprised. I was standing on the wharf below the fishing boat, looking at his panicked face, and smiled coldly. Surprised that I'm not dead? Or surprised that your plan failed? Zhou Yuanhang looked down towards the wharf following the voice. When he saw me in the rows of dark gun barrels behind me, he completely broke down. He knew everything was over. Stay back, he roared, pulled a pistol from the back of his waist, and pressed it against his temple. If you take one more step closer, I'll kill myself. The surrounding SWAT officers immediately tensed up and took cover one after another. Don't shoot, calm him down, the action team commander ordered in a low voice. I gestured for them to stay calm. I walked alone, slowly up the gangplank leading to the fishing boat. Zhou Yuanhang, you think if you die, that's the end of everything. My voice wasn't loud, but it reached his ears clearly. If you die to escape punishment for your crimes. Everything you've done all these years will be dug up. You think your wife and kid that you hid overseas can live peacefully with no worries. Will Black Crab let them off? Without you as their pawn, what value do they have to Black Crab? Zhou Yuanhang's hand holding the gun started shaking violently. His family was his only weak spot. You're lying, I don't have family overseas. Really? I pulled a photo out of my pocket and threw it on the deck in front of him. The photo showed a gentle, beautiful woman with a 7 or 8-year-old boy, playing on a beach abroad, with a luxury seaside villa in the background. When Old K was investigating his background, he found this using technical means. Your wife, Chen Jing, moved abroad 3 years ago under the name of investment immigration. Your son, Zhou Xiaoan, is currently studying at the top private elementary school abroad. Every year you use underground banks to transfer huge sums of money to them. All this money comes from betraying your colleagues and selling out your country, right? With every word I said, Zhou Yuanhang's face paled a little more, until he was completely ashen. No, don't hurt them. They're innocent. His mental defenses completely crumbled. With a loud clatter, the gun in his hand fell onto the deck. It was like all strength had been sucked out of him, and he collapsed to the ground. The SWAT team rushed forward immediately and pinned him down firmly. Cold handcuffs clicked around his hands he once took so much pride in. I walked up to him, looked down at him and said, "Zhou Yuanhang, you're wrong. The net of justice is wide, yet it lets no culprit escape. You thought you covered your tracks perfectly, but the moment you chose to betray, you had already lost." Inside the interrogation room, the lights were harsh and pale. Zhou Yuanhang sat in the chair looking lifeless. He had completely given up resisting and confessed to everything. Turns out, back when he was in the police academy, his family had racked up huge gambling debts, and he was targeted by the Black Scorpion organization. They lured him in with the promise of paying off his debts and recruited him as their informant. Over the years, he used his position to leak massive internal police intel to Black Scorpion, helping them evade our raids time and time again. The data stored on that memory card includes Black Scorpion's latest money laundering routes and the hiding spots of several core members. This was the result of a power struggle inside Black Scorpion. One of the gang leaders wanted to use the police to eliminate his own rivals. They picked Zhou Yuanhang for the job, then used me, the newly returned undercover hero, as the least suspicious messenger possible. The plan was practically perfect. Too bad they miscalculated one thing. They underestimated how well a husband knows his own wife. They also underestimated an undercover cop's intuition for danger, and the Chinese police's resolve to fight crime most of all. The follow-up work on the case was very complicated and highly classified. Zhou Yuanhang and the entire network behind him were taken down in one fell swoop. Using the intel from the memory card, we worked with border police to launch a thunder operation codenamed Scorpion Tail. The Black Scorpion organization suffered an unprecedented blow. All this happened on the invisible front line. After I finished all the handovers and interrogation documentation, I finally got my 9-year overdue vacation. The day I reported back to the team, the chief personally pinned a first-class merit medal on me. All my colleagues saluted me. The sun was shining perfectly that moment. I suddenly felt 9 years of darkness and loneliness was all worth it. I didn't stay at the station long. There was someone I couldn't stop thinking about. I drove back to the safe house that belonged to Song Si and me. The moment I opened the door, the smell of food hit me. Song Si was wearing an apron, bustling around in the kitchen. When she heard the door open, she turned around and saw me, and saw the shiny metal on my chest. She smiled, but tears rolled down her cheeks unconsciously. I walked over to her and hugged her gently from behind. "I'm back," I said. Welcome home." Her voice was thick with a nasal twang from crying. "I'm sorry for making you worry again." Silly, she turned around, wiped my face with her hand and said, "I have never felt as peaceful as I do right now." Yeah, peaceful. There are no more cold bugs in the house. No more dangerous peepers outside the door. We can be like the most ordinary couple in the world, hugging, kissing, chatting about silly little things, without worrying about a third pair of ears listening in. We ate this meal very slowly and quietly. No tense Morse code exchanges. No conversations with hidden agendas. Just simple homemade food. And the warmest eye contact. After dinner, I insisted on washing the dishes. Song Si leaned against the kitchen door watching me. "Luye? You won't leave again, right?" My movements washing the dishes stopped. I turned around and saw the nervousness in her eyes. I walked up to her and held her face in my hands. "I'm not leaving. My mission is already done. From now on, the only mission I have is you. I'll spend the rest of my life making it up to you." Song Si's eyes turned red again. She stood on her tiptoes and pressed her lips to mine. The kiss was soft and gentle, but it carried 9 years of longing and grievance. The next day, we went to her real parents' home together. When my parents-in-law saw us, the worry they'd held on to finally faded. They had no idea what had happened. They just thought we young couple had a fight. In the afternoon, we went to visit my parents. When the two elders saw me, they held my hands and stared at me over and over, mumbling nonstop, "It's good you're back, it's good you're back." That night, we didn't go back to that safe house. We went back to our real home instead. The place filled with 9 years of our memories. We pushed the door open. Everything was just as we left it. Sunlight streamed through the clean windows onto the floor. The clivia on the balcony was blooming quietly. Song Si leaned in my arms and said softly, "Lu Yan, I want to replace everything in the house with new stuff." I froze for a second. "Why, All these things are still in good shape, right? I want to throw away all the bad memories from the past. I think our home deserves a brand new start. I looked at her and understood what she meant. I smiled and kissed her forehead. Okay, whatever you say. We'll go buy new furniture tomorrow. We'll decorate this place into something we both love. Because we have a long future ahead of us. We'll fill the 9 years of emptiness together bit by bit. The days that followed were peaceful and mundane. Song-si and I were just like every couple that had just moved into a new home. We shopped at furniture malls together, bickered non-stop over what color the sofa should be. We rushed to the supermarket together to grab discounted veggies and milk. We looked up recipes together and made a total mess of the kitchen. All the dark clouds that once suffocated us seemed to have gone straight to the dump. Along with all the old furniture, our home felt more warm and homey each day. One day I was watering that clivia pot on the balcony when Song-si hugged me from behind. Honey, I have something to tell you. Might be pregnant? Her voice was as quiet as a mosquito's buzz. My watering motion froze instantly. I spun around sharply to look at her, my eyes as wide as saucers. What did you say? Song-si laughed at my reaction. Her cheeks slightly flushed. She pulled a small pregnancy test out from behind her back. There were 2 clear red lines on it. I stared at those 2 red lines, my mind going completely blank. After a long while, I finally found my voice, really. I lifted her up in my arms immediately, spinning wildly around on the balcony. That's amazing, I'm gonna be a dad. I'm gonna be a dad. I was like a little kid, laughing and yelling out loud. Song-si got dizzy from all the spinning, hitting my back nonstop. Oh my gosh, put me down already. Be careful with the baby. That's when I snapped back to reality. I carefully set her on the ground and squatted down, pressing my ear to her still flat belly. Let me listen. Silly. You can't hear anything at this stage, right? Song-si tapped my head playfully, but I had a serious look on my face. I did hear something. I heard him saying, "Hi, Daddy." The warm sun was shining down on us. In that moment, I felt like the luckiest man alive in the whole world. 9 years of undercover work. I lost so much. Time I could have spent with my parents. Years I could have spent with my wife as we grew up. But now, the universe made it up to me in the best way possible. It gave me a new identity. Father and a brand new mission. To protect my wife and our unborn child. This mission has no time limit. No endpoint either. I'll spend my whole life completing it. 1 year later, in a small villa on the outskirts of the city, on the lawn in the yard, a little boy who just learned to walk was wobbling after a rubber ball. I sat on the bench nearby, watching him. Song-si walked over, holding a plate of cut fruit. She sat down next to me. Look how fast he's running, she said with a smile. Yeah, he takes after me. I raised my eyebrows proudly. The little boy got tired of running, dropped the ball, and ran waddling towards us on his tiny legs. Daddy, I opened my arms and caught him securely in my arms. He gave me a loud kiss on the cheek, leaving a trail of shiny drool behind. Song-si grabbed a tissue and wiped it off for me with a smile. Thank you, honey, she said suddenly. What are you thanking me for? Thank you for coming back alive, and thank you for giving me a home. I looked at him, then glanced at our babbling son in my arms. My heart was filled with warmth. I squeezed his hand tightly. No, I should be the one thanking you two. You guys make me feel life is worth living.